Talk, I promise you. Please. Come on.
You mentioned your heirs. You pass it on to them. They decide that we want this to become painful. Let's use that. The community is not protected. The city won't have any obligation to revert back to, even though you have a memorandum, you just pass something on. It's still in your family.
Well, that's why I thought this lady's point was real good to put it in the document to where it could never be a tank farm. It would stay with the property regardless of who owned it. You know, I think, I would hope that everybody in this building understands that I'm not trying to disrupt your community at all. You know, this was an opportunity to buy a piece of property that would work for the business that I'm in. And
Because there's no way that you can tell exactly what one could put on that property or exclude from that property. I'm going to be very clear and very easy. What I hear this community saying tonight is that they don't want any additional industry in their community. That's what they're saying. Mr. Collins, I'm sure you're an admirable man, but maybe you just don't know these people in this community or the history of this community. That's not your fault. It doesn't make you a bad person. I don't know you. I don't think you're a bad person. But the people of this community are saying that they don't want that business, and not just your business, but any business on that property, because they want to enhance the livability of their community, and they don't feel like a warehouse or another business or some type of industry will do that. Now, my grandfather came to this community in the 19s and started his life here, and my family's life here in Mobile. This is a rich in heritage community, unlike any other place on the planet. On the planet. And these people want the respect of having somewhere that's unique against any other place on the planet. There is now an Africatown Community Development Corporation in place that addresses the needs of this community. They have plans that they have run across the people in this community for the development of the property that you're looking at, as well as the expansion of Africatown. I'm sure you pay good, fair market money for your property. Councilman Manzi here is talking about monies that will be available to Africatown. Maybe we can bridge that connection where Councilman Manzi presents funding to Africatown in order to purchase your property through the CDC. So you can do what you want to do and own the business. I'm a solutions-oriented person, okay? And you know, I don't like to screenshot jumping. Well, that's not true. But I'm looking at a win-win situation. And as my good friend Pete Burns says, what's best for this community and what's best for Mobile. I understand you're a businessman, sir. I personally wouldn't want to put encumbrances on a piece of property that I purchased for business. And I think that a solution can be reached so that you don't have to do that, and so that this community can get what they want as well.
And the only reason I stood up today is because I actually was a kid that learned how to swim in this particular community. And that's something that a lot of kids in my culture don't get to learn how to do. And I was very fortunate to have someone like Mr. Santee Gamble to drive us around to the different parks and recreation and let us get to learn about our own community and our own culture. And it's really sad for me to bring kids that attend the Mobile County Public School System that have never stepped foot on Africatown's property or even seen it. And I took some kids over there, and the saddest thing about it was no beautification. And I understand if you're a businessman, you want to do this, you want to do that. We have Pritchard that's 3 times a day. You want to come over, you want to sit, you want to meet with Mayor Ingram, talk a little bit. I'm loud. But if you want to talk with him, you can, and I'm pretty sure that they wouldn't mind purchasing from you, and you can come over to Pritchard, and we can help you get over there because they need it. You go to the place that needs it more, because Mobile County right now, our biggest struggle is helping our black kids feel like they're wanted, because we don't feel it. I didn't feel it. I went to 3 different colleges, 3, and the only time I felt like I was wanted was when I got to walk across the stage. That's sad. That's really sad. I've been on the news. I've been at different football games. I was a cheerleader. I was a flag girl. My mom and my family invested in my education highly. And I have people that are my age at the age of 25 walking around with nothing to do. And let's say your warehouse is built or whatever. Half of them won't even be able to get a job there. So let's be realistic. For me and my own, like my people, my classmates, my friends, because it's sad. Like kids are dying. You don't put a warehouse so close to kids that have to walk to school every day. That's a pedophile. That's somebody crazy pulling them in the car, kidnapping them. We have all this land in Pritchard. If you don't want Pritchard, you got Chickasaw. If you don't want Chickasaw, I mean, you really do. I mean, all these empty. It's abandoned. It's nothing over there. And I'm pretty sure it is a concrete lane up under a whole bunch of grass over there. I'm guaranteeing you that it is, because my daddy was an architect, so I know it has to be. That's the reason why it's butt naked stripped to nothing. Because somebody else is going to come in and they're going to try to do the same thing that you're doing. But you don't have to do it in the city of Mobile, and you can go to Pritchard or wherever you want to go. And then it worked out. Just let them have it. Because, I mean, you got USA, they're teaching about Africatown, but we can't even bring anybody over here to look at it because we got beheaded statues and trash everywhere. Then I have an aunt that's buried over in the cemetery, and then I bring a little kid over there, and he's like, oh, they didn't even bury these people right. We have so much more that we have to focus on as individuals in America today than we do as far as just throwing something up. And we have open land, abandoned homes, all this stuff that's just rotten and nothing's there. And you can put something over there instead of putting it in a community where you have people living and children playing.
And we shouldn't have to keep going through this every time somebody.
My name is David Underhill. I don't live in this neighborhood, but Mr. Manzi is my councilman. I live in this district. I had not intended to speak at this meeting, but I feel compelled to because of the fantasy that has arisen that if this is rezoned to heavy industry, it might at some time in the future revert to residential zoning. That will never happen if there is a giant tank farm right across the street from it. Oh, but it involves whether the buffer zone needs to be a quarter of a mile or half a mile or a whole mile. This project of the warehouse tends to remove residences from the vicinity of the proposed tank farm. In other words, it helps to create the buffer zone that makes that giant tank farm so big, I call it a tank city, possible. If it's allowed to proceed, then what it really does is bring on the tank farm more readily. Now, I'm not saying that this man has anything to do with it, but his project will help create a buffer zone to prepare the way for the giant tank farm.